A very good afternoon, everyone. This is the fourth session of the day, so welcome to our next session, which is from warehouse to smart hub, the strategic importance of AI and humanoids in logistics. We're delighted to have us Mr. Edwin Yap, Executive Director of Jemco Warehouse Solutions Senior Berhad, a visionary leader driving smart warehousing transformation across Southeast Asia. Let's welcome him. I've a few introductions for you. Under his leadership, Jemco has evolved from traditional racking manufacturer into a full-spectrum solution provider, integrating robotics, AI, and intelligence system to future-proof logistics operation. In today's session, Mr. Yap will explore how technologies like autonomous case handling robots, AGVs, four-way shuttles, and AI-powered WMS, WCS platform are revolutionizing warehouse flow and precision. He also shared insights into emerging role of humanoid robots in high-variability environment designed to complement human teams, reduce repetitive tasks, and unlock high-value work. Whether you're just starting your automation journey or scaling towards full integration, I will say this session offers practical strategies and bold vision. So please join me one more time to welcome Mr. Edwin Yap on stage, and he's going to share his topic for today.
Thank you so much, MC, for the introduction. A very good afternoon, everyone. Very good to see here, some familiar faces, to also catch up with our business partners at an annual MTE affair, which is one of the best shows for logistics event in the year of Malaysia. So today, I'll be sharing a little bit about how to transform from a traditional warehouse to what we call a smart hub. Right? The strategic importance of AI and also the humanoids in logistics, which is the epicenter of the supply chain resilience. A bit of introduction about myself. My name is Edwin Yap. I'm the CEO of the Jemco Group of companies. So our company has been in the retail fixtures industry for more than 30 years. And recently, we have ventured into the warehouse sector as well, helping companies to automate their warehouses, manufacturing warehouse racks. And at the same time, we are also bringing in humanoid technology from China to Malaysia. So I'd like to start a story here with probably a very familiar event that we see most of the time, right? I would like you to meet Arif. So Arif is our very usual warehouse manager. So he comes to work in the morning, and the first thing that he does is picking up calls, receiving complaints from customers, and getting, a ping up by the supervisors or by the team leads and saying, oh, there's urgent calls about missing pallets. There's so many problems. There's a machinery breakdown. There's a logistic issue. So all he does every day is just firefighting. And then in the afternoon, boss, the forklift is jammed, and the workers are exhausted from long walks in a big warehouse. And by evening, you would think that his problems are all done. But in fact, because of all this firefighting in the morning and afternoon, in the evening, that's only when he has time to actually go through his reports. He's buried in manual reports. He's struggling and with the picking errors and also the very high cost of overtime pay. So how many Arifs do we have in the room today? I see some smiles on the floor. So probably this is a very familiar situation that most of us have actually gone through. And now think about and look at a day in a smart hub, right? So imagine if there's a future where Arif comes to work with a big smile on his face. It's the same manager, but two completely different roles. So in the morning, there's AI robotics that is actually helping to unload the containers from their suppliers. There's probably some automation system that the WMS that logs in stock real time as well. And then in the midday, you have the multi-way shuttles handling most of the problems, the ACRs handling most of the storage movements as well. And you have a WCS that is the logic control to improve the logic on machine learning. In the afternoon, you have humanoids all around the warehouses to help with irregular items. The WMS also auto-generates reports. So Arif can take a sip of coffee, in his desk, just looking across the floor, and everything gets done for him. Imagine a site like this. And at night, the AI is actually still working as well. During the smart hub, it predicts the demand and auto-relocates resources for what's to come tomorrow. Maybe you need more shifts of people to come in tomorrow. Maybe you need to allocate certain humanoids from certain region to another region across the floor. So think of the smart hub pyramid as the importance, almost like a human body, right? Starting from the bottom, you have the digital infrastructure. You have the IoT Today, we also have some sensors partners in the spaces here as well. The sensors and data, that actually acts as the base and the foundation of the whole smart hub technology pyramid. And moving up, you have the automation backbones. We have a lot of shuttles here on the floor here today as well, the CTU, the carton transfer unit, the ASR system, the multi-way shuttles. So these are the muscles of a human. Right? And then moving up the chain as well, you have a collaborative workforce, which is the humans, and in the future, hopefully, with humanoids as well. So these are sort of like your hands, the hands that get the job done. So again, back to our foundation, we have all the data. That's like your nervous system, it reacts. And then you have the muscles, moving up to your hands that gets the job done. But most importantly, at the tip of the iceberg is actually the brain, which is the AI, right? So it's a strategic intelligence of AI and analytics that actually does all the job in the background and plans for all the workflow and the logic. So let's dig a bit deeper into the foundation layer, the automation backbones, right? Of course, we have many showcases around the floor today, and also feel free to visit our booth as well. It's actually just right on the right of the corner. So we have the four-way shuttle. Of course, I'm not going to go too deep into most of these solutions that are already made in the market. So with four-way shuttle, of course, you can have a flexible and scalable dynamic SKUs. You can improve your throughput very quickly. And then you also have ASR system, which is the automated storage and retrieval system. It's significantly faster picking speed, almost near zero picking errors. Of course, saying near zero is almost like a dream for most of us. And also maximizes the storage density. Because the storage space is getting more and more expensive all across the region, not only in Malaysia, right? And lastly, we have the carton transfer unit, or we call case carton transfer unit as well, which is a robotic system that actually helps you transfer carton from places to places. And the pros is, of course, cutting work travel by more than 70%. And then moving forward, stepping up from the automation backbone, which is the brain, right? The AI-driven systems. So we have WCS and WMS. Okay, so beware of all these jargons. They're actually a very simple terms of what we call a warehouse control system and warehouse management system. So warehouse control system is almost like a logic, right? When we're planning to get our job done, when I'm planning, for example, stepping onto the stage, what is the logic? I have to move my leg first, and then moving my other leg next, and that actually gets the job done in real-time coordination of automation. It avoids bottleneck, it reduces the idle time, and that has to work very closely with your warehouse management system, the WMS. It manages your inventory, all your workflows, your orders, and it improves accuracy and enables planning, all happening in the background again. So think of that almost like an conductor of an orchestra, right? So I would actually give a very nice metaphor about the operations in a warehouse to an orchestra, because you have many different and talented players playing in the background, but you need a good conductor to make sure everything moves smoothly according to plan. So what is the new frontier? So this is probably one of the newest topics, and that's probably not very much discussed, especially in the region, which is humanoids. So humanoids is able to handle complex tasks, variable tasks, because humanoids comes in a human form, and it adapts without programming. Imagine you can have this abang humanoid that comes in the floor, and you can just use your natural language without any programming, and actually gives an instruction of tasks. For example, you can tell the humanoid, hey, you pick this thing up, you move to point B, but if the goods come in a different shape, you have to use different forms and put in different cartons. So a very traditional way of doing robotics to achieve the same thing requires a lot of programming, a lot of study, and it's most of the time very expensive. So we see humanoids as a new frontier to actually overcome this problem, especially with most of the SMEs in the market. And it's also able to work in a safe and hazardous environment. So I think one of the biggest problems that most of us are facing now is nobody wants to work in a 3D setting, right? If I get a show of hand, how many people have trouble hiring people? I'm sure most of us will actually put our hands up, right? So it's actually a big problem that most of the factory owners, most of the warehouse users are facing. So this brain actually completes the pyramid, this humanoid technology that we plan to bring in from China as well. So of course, when we talk about humanoids, it's not really to replace the human, but we talk about augmenting the human, bringing the judgment and the problem solving, the customer interaction back to the human, where the decision making still happens at the human level. But the humanized robotics actually doing the jobs that no humans likes to do. Who would want to carry, a bag of goods from point A to point B all the time? Right? It's just not very ergonomic. It's not good for the health of your employee, and it's very low value added as well. So I would like to show you some real-time use cases that is actually already happening in China. So these videos are actually taken from our principal AGI bot. The video on the left was taken with a humanoid robot actually handling irregular item handling. So it's working with the product sorting system as well. So we have worked with a lot of clients in their warehouses, helping them to automate their warehouses, and they've spent millions, and in some cases they've spent tens of millions of dollars, right, to automate their warehouse. But they still require a lot of human people. A lot of human tasks are still unable to be replaced. So this is where humanoids come into the picture. So as you can see, the humanoid robot is working like a human sorter, right, helping to make sure that the barcode is facing upwards, so it can go through the Damon's automatic sorting system. And when it gets completely into the sorting system and sorts to different carton units, another robot, a dual-arm robot, which is I'll show you later as well in the other video, will actually move from one carton place to another carton place. So this is another vision of how we see the future of Smart Hub is going to transform the warehouse sector. And of course, when we talk about humanoids, a lot of people are thinking, why do humanoids need to take a human forms? Right, but actually, if you look closely, the humanoid robots that I'm showcasing now actually is a half humanoid. It's not a full humanoid. Okay, so last year I had a chance to study about the humanoid robotics market, and this year I also had a chance to visit the World Robotic Conference in China, in Beijing, just start of this month as well. So I noticed that a lot of the robots that we see in the market right now is actually half humanoid. Because if we think about the purpose of our legs, right, what is the purpose of our legs? It's just to get us from point A to point B. And actually using a wheeled solution gets it from point A to point B a lot faster. But hands are so much more important than your feet, because hands actually get the job done. This is why you see a lot of robotic companies actually focus more on the hands. And if we look at the traditional industrial robotics automation, it comes in the form of robotic arm. And it's just one arm, right? And today, when we're talking about a full humanoid or even half humanoid robotics companies, they're able to push these products out in the market at the cost of one robotic arm. So imagine that. So next, I would also like to show you another video. And this is already being commercialized large scale in China. So this is taken in Fulin PM, which is an advanced material company. And our principal AGI bot is able to deploy more than hundreds of robots in the actual sector. And the ROI now is actually getting close to the inflection point of 2 years. So imagine you can get your investment back in less than 2 years' time. Of course, that is in China. In Malaysia, probably it'll take a bit longer because of the lower labor costs and so on. And also support from the government as well. So to talk about the pragmatic pathways to the adoption of all these technologies to transform from a traditional warehouse to a smart hub, right? We talk about step one. What is the most foundation needs that you need? Again, we're back to the pyramid of the foundation. You need to have your shuttles, your ACRs and CTUs. That is actually the data that's required to help you through the journey. And then we move on to the second layer, which is step two, which is your brain. Again, your AI-driven system with the warehouse control system, with the warehouse management system as well. And lastly, that is when humanoids is going to come into the picture for flexible labor augmentation. So we don't talk about replacing human. We talk about augmenting the human, making them more efficient and doing higher value added stuff. So of course, we need to take a hybrid adoption. Later today, we'll be actually having a panel sharing session just right after this. We have a few of the panel speakers. Earlier, we were just talking in the room, and we're talking about what are some of the challenges that most warehouse users are facing in the market. And they all come down to ROI. A lot of business owners, they think, why would I want to invest in this? The ROI is just too long. The ROI is 7 years. But we need to educate all these warehouse users about the true implication of ROI. We cannot just think about ROI from the point of replacing human, replacing labor. Because if we think about only replacing human, I buy this machine, it's going to replace 2%. But we fail to realize that, after you buy this machine, first of all, it's a good image for your company, right? So your staff actually can increase their efficiency. So when your staff gets more efficient, you can actually do more business. And when you can do more business, it actually adds on a lot of benefits to your company without just reducing your costs. So these are some of the things that we have to constantly educate our customers and also help them through the journey. And why humanoids is going to be the game changer, which we think. So earlier this year, we started this new company called Mr. Robot, which we aim to revolutionize the retail and also the warehouse sector by introducing humanoid robots into the Malaysian market. So first of all, humanoid solves the labor shortages. Nowadays, if you go to any of the companies or the factory owners and you ask them, are you facing a labor issue? Yes, we do have a lot of abundance of labor. We have a lot of foreign workers. But how long do you think this is going to last? If you think about during the COVID time, right, a lot of people are facing the labor shortages. Even big companies like Top Glove, it's very hard for them to actually hire workers. And in Malaysia nowadays, we are so dependent on foreign laborers. And how long is this going to last? I don't think this is going to be the future of Malaysia. And of course, most of all is to ensure safety as well. Nobody wants to work in a dangerous, demeaning segment of an industry. So it's very hard to hire people, right? So we need to, and a humanoid robot is also able to be adapting to changes. And it also has a human-like dexterity. And most of the world that we live in now, most of the warehouse racks that we have in the market, more than 90% are actually manual racks. They're static. Right? And most of the tools that we have in the market, even the chairs we have, the doors, the handles, the cup, this little clicker that I have in my hand is designed for humans. So very quickly, you can actually have humanoids to come in without much investment into automating the whole space. Of course, when you talk about very specific task automation, like for example, moving a pallet of goods from your highest rack to your lowest rack, right? Of course, an ASR is going to be the fastest, rather than having a humanoid to come in to work on your forklift and then get it from the top tier to the lowest tier. But if you think about it, how many SMEs can actually afford to purchase an ASR system? But in the future, maybe they can actually pay less than 100K, less than 200K to invest in a humanoid that actually can come in and work straight away. So I'd like you to have this in your mind. And of course, there's also the rising cost of labor. Over the past 20 years, the labor cost has been going up very steadily on a 2.6% per annum, whereas the cost of robotics is actually constantly going down. So there's this forecast by McKinsey that in a span of 8 years, the cost of robotics is going to go down 10 times every 8 years. So imagine that. A robot can cost 50,000 now. It can cost less than 5,000 in 8 years' time. And these are all actual facts figures. And labor costs will only keep going up. So I'd like to leave you the floor, with this thought in mind, right? The warehouse is not about man versus machine. It's about man plus machine plus humanoid. A hybrid workforce where each of them play to their strengths. And I'd like to also invite you to follow my page on LinkedIn, where I'll be sharing more of this interesting technology as well in the market, and also our initiatives in terms of bringing in new technology from China. Thank you so much.
All right, let's give another warm round of applause for Mr. Edwin Yap. I would like to open the floor to any questions. This is Q&A for this part for Mr. Edwin about what he said about humanoid and so much more. You can raise your hand and I'll come towards you with the microphone. I would like to know, is there any Q&A? Any question you'd like to raise from the floor? Oh, Mr. Edwin, you got questions for them?
I think the most common question that I usually get when I introduce about this topic in most forums, right, is how much does a robot cost now? Because that is the thing that most people are concerned with the most. So, okay, of course, when robots first came out into the market, and the robots that you see on the screen just now that I showed, right? When they first came out into the market, they were probably close to ringgit 1 million. But this year is less than half of that already. So next year is going to be even cheaper. And I truly believe in the supply chain of China to be able to actually commoditize the whole industry, much like the EV market, right? When EV first came out more than 10 years ago, Tesla was setting the standard. But nowadays, you're looking at guys like BYD, guys like different types of EV players. Most of them are already in Malaysia, by the way. Actually, revolutionizing the whole market. So this is the trend that we see. The cost of automation, the cost of robotics is only going to get cheaper and cheaper.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll open up another few more seconds if you have any show of hands, if you have any questions. If not, all right, let's give another warm round of applause. Thank you so much, Mr. Edwin Yap, for that powerful and thought-provoking presentation. Your insights into how AI, robotics, and humanoid systems are reshaping logistics that have given us a clear window into the future of smart warehousing. So later on, I'd like to invite you for a dynamic panel session that is happening at 3:15. Mr. Edwin Yap will be there again, where this time the title will be The Future of Warehousing, Robotics, Artificial Intelligence and Humanoids. And joining Mr. Edwin Yap will be Mr. Yan Yok Long, Managing Director Southeast Asia of Cardex Sdn Bhd, Mr. Man Chin Yin, Managing Director of Prima Automation Sdn Bhd, and will be moderated by Dr. Iskandar Baharin, the President of the Malaysia Automation and Robotics Society, in short, MyRAS. So later on at 3:15, I'll see you back, and we're going to end the day with the bang, which is a panel session. I'll see you all again at 3:10 for a quick reminder, and 3:15 we will rocket it up for the last panel session.